All right, gang, are you ready to dance? Because I got the woman for you right here. She's not only a good friend, she's a patient, but most importantly, she is one of the hottest fitness influencers on the web today. This is Megan Roup. Now,
Hi.
She's a California girl, but I like to think of her as a New Yorker because she's been here for quite a long time. She's been trained as a classic dancer. She studied at NYU Tisch Arts. She's even been a dancer for the Brooklyn Nets, which I didn't know. That's pretty hot. She's been a fit model. I mean, come on, you come to New York, you got to be a model, right? But most importantly, she really channeled her dancing into the platform she created, the Sculpt Society. And this is really a cult following for famous people, regular people, people who know how to dance, people who don't know how to dance. And she's just created this authenticity around dancing and around fitness that is so inviting and engaging. And I've gotten to know her personally, professionally, and she's even got me to move my feet a little bit. So thank you, Megan, for coming.
Thank you for having me. What an intro. Thank you. I'm flattered.
Yeah, although I did hear you told me, as much of a New York girl as you are, you may be leaving us for California again. Is that true?
I know. My husband and I are pregnant, and we've made the leap to the West Coast. It's going to happen soon.
I love how you included him in the "we are pregnant." I know you're both going to be parents, and I know it's kind of like nice and PC to say that, but darling, you are the pregnant one, okay? His role will come, okay? But you are the pregnant one. So, let's jump right into the baby elephant in the room. Not that you're the elephant, but I mean, this is a big part of your life now, right?
Yeah. It's been quite not only the physical but the mental shift into really just preparing for this new stage of life.
Yeah. And for you, when it rains, it pours. A lot has gone on for you, not just COVID. Sculpt Society has taken off. You recently got married. The business growth. I mean, how you feel?
Yeah, it's been a really crazy year. I am like a self-proclaimed workaholic, so I'm kind of in my zone right now, and I'm just feeling super grateful for this past year and for my own silver linings in the year, and just leaning into it and continuing, I think, just to build this amazing community that I have with the Sculpt Society.
I think, when we talk about being a workaholic, I think anyone that has found their calling is a workaholic, because it's not work. I mean, we know it's work and we know it's stressful, and I know you're telling me it's good, but I know, let's face it, because I'm in the same role, it's tough. You're building a business, you got all these things going on. You don't want to complain, right? Because things are going so well, you have so many great things, but let's face it, it takes 190% of you, right? And finding that balance, it's difficult.
Yeah, it's super hard, and I think something I've learned to do over the past year with the help of my husband is just really learning to ask for help and to know what are the areas in my business that I am actually really well suited for, my zones of genius, what is the best use of my time and what is not. And so I think with so much growth in my business, having to release some of that control a little bit and know that my time is better suited if I'm creating content. It's not necessarily better suited talking to my accountant about my taxes. So maybe my husband can help me out with that, or we can hire the right team around me to help facilitate that. But that's really taken me a long time to get to. And I think for any small business owners out there, in the early days, even now, I think, I never really have a day off. I'm always kind of on call and answering emails, and eventually that will end, and I quote unquote will get a little bit of a better balance. But I did go into starting my company knowing that it was going to take a little bit of that grit and that gusto in the first couple of years.
People always ask me, what are your hours and when do you think you're going to retire? Those are the two most common questions I get. And my answer is eyes open to eyes shut, and when they pull the laser or the needle out of my hand, dead. Because the fact of the matter is, yes, it's work, but it's my calling. It's part of what defines me personally, professionally. I don't look at things as work like home and work. It's a spectrum of who I am. And when you're like you, and that's why we're friends, I think when it defines you, it is your lifestyle. And I see you on social media and how you engage with the audience, and it's just who you are.
Yeah, the Sculpt Society truly is an extension of who I am. And, I, again, feel so honored to be able to share so many of my community's fitness journey. So the fact that I can bring a way of movement that feels so fun and joyous to myself, but to share that with other people and for other people to connect with that way of moving has been the greatest gift I could ever imagine. And I'm just, like you said, I feel so aligned in what I'm doing that, yes, is it hard work? Are there hard days? Are there long hours? Absolutely. But, I get to wake up every day and do what I really, really feel called to be doing. And I don't think a lot of people can say that. And I just, I feel like I'm overusing the word grateful, but I do truly feel just this overall just sense of just feeling so grateful for that.
Let's talk about how, obviously doing your job is a very physical job. Let's just talk briefly, logistically, about how you're doing all this on your platform, pregnant. I mean, you're getting along now. How many weeks are you?
I'm almost 27, so I'm almost into my third trimester, yeah.
Pre-record a lot of stuff? Are you recording stuff this pregnant? Tell me about what's going on.
Yeah, so, my husband and I had really started talking about trying to conceive before we got married. So we knew we wanted to kind of get on that train pretty early on after we got married. So I knew in my mind that was something that was hopefully going to happen in the first few months of marriage. So I really started to create content and record content on the back end, planning that if I was lucky enough to get pregnant, that I would have enough content stored to really get me through my entire pregnancy, posting once a week, and 3 months postpartum. So I have worked my tush off to get to that point. But it's been really important to me because I think I want to be able to still have content for the women and men out there that are part of the Sculpt Society who want pre-pregnant Megan and who want certain workouts. Now I'm in my second and third trimester. Obviously, there are certain things that I need to start modifying, like abs on back. So if you are a Sculpt Society app member and you want to do abs on back, well, lucky you. I just released one this past Monday from a recording this past summer, right? So really planning ahead. And then leaning into how cool is it that I'm pregnant and I get to film while I'm pregnant. So let's create a pre and postnatal program for all of my pre and postnatal mamas out there. So, really taking advantage of this time while I am pregnant. I am a pre and postnatal certified trainer, but I think that it is different now that I am pregnant and I know the feeling of movement while you're in this changing body, and I can really talk to those women who are going through it. So I just launched my pre and postnatal program. I just launched a prenatal challenge while at the same time releasing content for my clients that are not pregnant,
I mean, and that's amazing because it's going to open up your world to a whole new set of people, the post-mommy, all these different things. Yeah. It also puts a lot of pressure on you, right? You are the Sculpt Society, right? It's like me, like I can't be walking around with pimples, wrinkles, and brown spots. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm always on stage. When people stop telling me I look young, I got to start worrying about jobs.
Yeah, and I'm also, I also want to add that I'm not only am I putting out that on-demand content, I'm also going live 3 to 5 times a week on the Sculpt Society app. So, what I will say about my community is they have been so supportive of me, and I haven't really, knock on wood, I really haven't received much negative pushback of my changing body, and I think I'm still luckily able to kick most of their butts. So as long as I think if I'm putting out that content that is well programmed and is in line with the Sculpt Society ethos, my community continues to show up. And yeah, there's definitely pressure, but I think I can
People
really
can
talk.
be.
They can, but again, my community, honestly, they have been so supportive. So. I feel really lucky.
Let's talk about exercise and pregnancy. I mean, I'm sure you have trusted physicians, right? OBGYNs. You are basically a professional dancer, a professional athlete. You're an influencer. What are your thoughts on, and do myths exist about exercising while pregnant?
Yeah, I think there's so many myths about exercising while pregnant. You know, first and foremost, of course, if you are pre or postnatal, make sure that you are cleared by your doctor to start working out or continue on the program that you were doing pre-pregnancy. But I think a lot of women, there's a lot of just kind of old school mentality around fitness that, you know, oh, you're suddenly pregnant, you shouldn't be working out. When in fact, the most healthy thing that you can do for you and your body and your baby is to move your body. And I think it's not only a physical release, it's great for our mental health, and just something that we should be doing if you are cleared to work out. I think another question I get so much of is, can I do cardio? There's this myth that we as women, as pregnant women, can't do cardio. Again, if you're cleared by your doctor to do cardio while you are pregnant and you did dance cardio or you ran before you were pregnant, you certainly can continue doing that throughout your pregnancy. I think the big overarching theme for pregnancy and postnatal mamas is just, if anything feels off, because every pregnancy is so different, that's when you start to modify. So I know so many pregnant women who say to me, no, jumping just doesn't feel good. Suddenly dance cardio doesn't feel good. Then I would say to that woman, totally fine. I'll have you go for a 20-minute walk outside instead of doing your 15 minutes of dance cardio. And there are so many other things that we can do, and just making sure that we feel supported and good throughout that journey. But that, yes, if it feels okay to jump, you certainly can do some dance cardio with me.
And have you noticed at your stage changes that, like, what kind of modifications have you had at your stage?
Honestly, again, knock on wood, I've been able to work out really consistently throughout my pregnancy. I think second trimester was obviously that was the point where I needed to start to modify, no abs on back. And then if I'm doing plank work, I modify with my knees down or I elevate my palms. But besides that, I honestly have felt really good, and I've been able to do most things. So, again, really implementing breath work and pelvic floor and 360 breathing and all these things that I'm certified to do. But I think until I'm pregnant, being able to really talk about that through movement, that's been really fun for me to start to implement into my day-to-day classes.
I think it's the same thing with nutrition too. I mean, people used to be like, you're eating for two, you should eat more, like eat whatever you want, and you should take it easy. When the fact of the matter is, whatever you're doing to take care of yourself when you're not pregnant, you should be doing that plus some when you are, which means, eating well, watching what you eat. Doesn't mean you can't treat yourself, but I think I was told by an OBGYN and nutritionist at some point, you really only need like an extra 350 to 400 calories for 8
I think,
it's like
it's not a lot. It's not a lot, yeah. No, it's a big, it's like half a bagel.
Yeah, it's like you should continue to eat just healthfully. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Really just striving to eat the foods that make you feel good, right? So of course, do I love a cupcake? Heck yeah. Do I feel great after a cupcake? Probably not super great, but I have a blood sugar crash and I feel all those things. But I think what was tough for me, honestly, Dr. Frank, was my first trimester. I think a lot of women experience this. Obviously, I didn't realize that I would at such a heightened sense of smell and taste. A lot of the same foods that I loved. I'm a healthy eater. I love my salads and avocado and Ezekiel bread and all the things I could not stand. I mean, I'm telling you, I could only stomach fruit, yogurt, and sugar. And I remember my OB saying, listen, it's your first trimester. You are in survival mode. If that means you're living off of Skittles right now, like, you're going to get past it. Second trimester is going to hit and you're going to go back to your healthy ways. So
everyone's losing their taste and smell and you have heightened sense, right?
Yes. So, yes, it was awful. It was awful. And going from, a pretty healthy eater, of course, indulging here and there. But going from that to that first trimester was tough. But second trimester, everything kind of went back to normal, thank God. And, I just, my food is, how I'm eating now is really how I was eating before I got pregnant. And same with movement.
You're not hitting the Bondi sushi. You turned me on to Bondi sushi.
Oh, so good. Well, actually, I technically can have Bondi sushi because I do the cauliflower rice with the avocado. So I don't have the sushi.
That's good stuff. You turned me on to that. I want that.
So good.
So good. Let's talk about other changes with pregnancy. And I've always appreciated you've been very authentic to your audience about the skin issues you've had, the minor skin issues you've had with melasma, and that's one of the reasons we met, to help with those skin issues. But clearly, one of the things that was a small problem before you're pregnant, melasma, for those of you out there, melasma is a hormonally induced skin condition where we get darkening of the skin. It happens in women on birth control. They call it the mask of pregnancy. It happens in normal people, particularly people of color, darker skin tones. And it's a little bit of a struggle for women. Lasers work, topicals work, sun avoidance is most important. But as Megan's going to tell you, I bet you it's worsening a little bit while you're pregnant. I haven't seen you.
It is. Yeah, it's definitely gotten a little bit worse, but you prepared me for that. I remember you telling me that it was going to get worse. And, I think I had gone from, I had seen you for a laser for my melasma before my wedding, and I felt so good. And then pregnancy hit obviously very early on after that, and it kind of all came back. But I remember you saying that would happen. And
not to pressure yourself over it.
Yes, and that's what I always appreciate about you. I've never felt, you've never really, you've always encouraged me to go that natural route, and that I don't need to be doing all the fancy things, and that especially through pregnancy and some of my skin changes, that it's going to be fine.
There's plenty of time afterwards to make up for a long time. And the fact of the matter is there are changes going on. The real limitation, people, too, is that we're also usually, even if we do laser procedures, we can maintain people with topical therapy. But even while pregnant, we're very limited on the types of medications that we could take, even topically. So really just sun avoidance, patience, enjoying the ride, and things like that, and knowing that there will be options when it's all done. And usually, if a woman decides to breastfeed, it's usually after breastfeeding, once the hormones calm down, that we could start addressing the melasma. And again, listen, for those of you out there that are interested, there are clearly, if you've never been pregnant, there are a lot of changes. A lot of things are pigmenting on the body. Areas like the areola, on the breasts. People get the linea alba, which is the little streak which comes down.
Mine's starting to come in.
People start getting redness, broken capillaries. I mean, listen, the body is changing. You're growing a human life. Yeah. Still, I've been a doctor for 25 years. It still amazes me. There's like an alien growing inside of you.
I know.
And there are blood vessels and pigment, and the body doesn't know the difference, so it's affecting everything. So I always tell people, prevention, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. There are ways to take care of your skin when you're pregnant, but don't worry, we got tricks for you when it's all over.
Yeah, I'll be flying out to New York City for my laser.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm actually really thankful that I'm pregnant in the winter, because like you said, sun exposure really can enhance that. So I always use SPF like year round, of course, but I think if it was midsummer, my melasma would be definitely worse.
When you come back and we check on the melasma, I'm going to tell you about the Sculpt Neo, which we're using like crazy on people's muscles. As a fitness expert, you need to know about this. Because this technology,
are you going to put me out of a job?
No. Thing on the cake. I don't know, we may have talked about it before. Sculpt is a muscle development technology which uses a type of MRI device. And we use it, women after pregnancy, they get what's called strata distensa. The muscle splits a little bit. Now, people who have it very, very severely, they need surgery for it. But most women have it mild to moderate. This is really one of the first devices that actually closes that. And it does it by strengthening the muscle. It also helps with skin and fat and all that other stuff. But it's really been amazing when OBGYNs give the approval for exercise, we put women on the machine and it literally closes it.
Oh, wow.
of course, it's done along with exercise. It's just an icing on the cake. It's not something that will ever replace the own physical rehab of pregnancy, but it's a really amazing technology.
Yeah, because that is interesting, because there is a lot of, for diastasis, you can do a lot of breath work and pelvic floor work, but I know a lot of women where it's kind of been, unfortunately, the work, it's almost a little too late, and they have this ongoing issue of separation. So yeah, I wonder, do you know if it works with, like, do you have to be newly postpartum, or if you have that issue?
I think I use it on people years later, but you're always going to get the best results, right? It's like with anything with exercise. It's best to get into the exercise and get yourself back soon after, once you can. I always say it's easy to clean up your room when it's not too dirty.
Yeah.
And lethargy begets lethargy, so you always want to get your body moving as soon as possible when you're rehabilitating from anything, whether it's pregnancy or injured shoulder or anything like that. And I think, some of these technologies that are coming out are really helping. There's a version of it too that we use for women with pelvic floor issues, people that have mild urinary incontinence after pregnancy, and it strengthens the pelvic floor. And again, these aren't things that people are embarrassed to talk about anymore. I mean, they're talking to their dermatologist about it, not just. So I think it's really great that we have education about nutrition, fitness, technologies that can help us right now, so women don't have to feel embarrassed about the process, right?
Yeah, I think it's so interesting for so many. I still know so many women who actually think it's very normal to pee while they are working out, or while they're jumping postpartum. And I think it's really important, if you are a woman out there and that's just happening to you and you think it's normal, it really isn't. And there are techniques like pelvic floor exercises or the technology that you're talking about that can then help this.
Well, it's common. That doesn't mean it's normal.
It's common, exactly.
But it doesn't mean, and again, a lot of things, they're afraid to talk about it. They don't know that there are treatments out there. And this technology I'm talking about, it's basically like doing 20,000 Kegels in a session. It feels a little weird on there. Men do it too. But, and again, it's about comfort. And I think this is another thing that we have in common. Part of our platform as experts in what we do is making people feel comfortable. Right? Whether it's about wanting to look like the best version of yourselves, or not being embarrassed about dancing as a form of fitness and all these things, we use our social media platforms to make people engage and feel comfortable. I know I'm good at that, and I know you're great at that.
I think it's so important. I think especially in any field, I think in dance-based fitness, dance cardio can feel very intimidating if you're not a dancer. And so when I set out with the Sculpt Society, it was really to just empower women to embrace it and simplify it. It just doesn't need to be complicated. And if you feel silly, I give you full permission to feel silly. But I think it's my clients that can embrace that silliness, and even if they feel ridiculous, I know after that class of moving to the beat of the music is so cathartic. So I'm here for it.
I'm gonna make a few suggestions on specific thematic classes. I think you should do it almost generational, like you do a Sculpt Society class on like popping.
I don't know if I can pop.
You do like a breakdance one.
Yeah.
You could do a Fred Astaire one. You could do things almost by the decade.
Yeah, totally. That's so fun.
You do talk, like I do, a lot about everything from nutrition. You bring your hubby on board. You really like to encompass the whole gamut of lifestyle in what you do. And I call this the pro-aging lifestyle, because your expertise is in fitness and dance, but clearly you're an influencer in so many aspects of life. And I think people are now embracing is that there's nothing one thing you can do. You can't just eat right. You can't just exercise. You can't just love right or meditate. It's about teaching our audience how to encompass it all. How did you start with your audience?
Yeah, I think, what's so fun about Instagram is just getting to share pieces of your life and what works for you and what doesn't. And I certainly am not an expert, but I think it is important for me to showcase some of those aspects, because for so long I struggled thinking I needed to be on a strict diet and thinking I needed to be doing hours of cardio a day and all of these things. And I think it was really the minute that I took away all of these rules and really ate food that made me feel good and fueled me, and worked out in a way that felt good and empowered me, that I was truly able to just feel really happy in my life. And so it's important to me that I'm showing that on Instagram, that, you know, I strive to eat well, but does that mean I'm going to have like a bean and cheese burrito on a Friday night with my husband? Heck yeah. Like, of course I'm going to.
I love watching you with a glass of wine.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to have a glass of wine again. But yeah, just showing people that, you know, I hate the word balance, but that there can be a way of living where you love and enjoy food, and there's no quote unquote bad food. You're so in tune with what feels good and nutritious for you, that you're drawn to those types of food. And same with movement, you know, it's not about torturing yourself and counting every calorie. It's really about moving your body in a way that feels good, because you know what, if you do move your body in a way that feels good, you're going to want to show up and be consistent with your workout. And to be honest, that's really the most important part.
That's true. Now, I know you don't have to answer this question completely, because I know, you know, we always, as influencers, we're always looking ahead, the next step. I do know a lot of influencers who do keep their babies and their family like out of their life. Have you thought about that? Out of their social media life?
Yeah. It's gonna
like
be
some people, you know, showing the baby every day.
I know. You know, it's a part of my life, so I think that would be really tough for me to censor that, and I think to talk to other moms who do follow me, and I think that's again why I love social media, is I am able to chat with my community and also get feedback from them. I learn so much from my community as well. So I think, you know, baby H, as we like to call her, because we still haven't named her, you know, we will be showing her and, you know, being mindful of that, but still, you know, not completely censoring.
You got to find your balance, for lack of a better word. I mean, again, you're adding another job onto your list by being a mother, not just being a mother, which is the toughest of the jobs, but, you know, talking about it on your platform, because you're going to get hit up with a lot of questions and information and people telling you what to do and then asking for your advice. Right?
I know. And I think the mom patrol on Instagram can be tough a little bit. So again, I really am grateful for my community, because for the most part, 99% of it's really positive. But I think I am a little nervous on bringing people into that part of my life, just because I think there are so many opinions when it comes to motherhood and how you're raising your kids and what you're feeding them and how are you breastfeeding. So a little nervous about that, but also I want to be transparent about what is working for me, and making sure it's you know, there's no sense of shame, and if breastfeeding doesn't work for me, you know, let's talk about it. Why didn't it work for me? Because it doesn't work a lot for a lot of people. And so
you know, I always tell people, again, you know, I'm a dermatologist. I'm not another type of doctor or type of expert or OBGYN, but because I see people several times a year, I develop relationships with people, just like you and I developed a relationship. And as a physician, people ask me everything about mothering, fathering, cancer in their family, orthopedic stuff. And, you know, I really just try and give my common sense of medicine. And when it comes to mothering, I tell them if there's anything more in the world that is a personal type of thing, it's mothering. And you have to find out what works for you. And like with anything in the world, if you're trying to follow some rule that's good for somebody else, you're already doing it wrong. My mother was an obstetrical nurse, and she always said to us growing up, and now that I have my own children, she says if there was one way to raise children, there'd be one book. And of course, every mother has, including my wife, had a stack this high of books. There'd be one book. So you have to find out what's right for you. And if you're feeling tortured over anything, guess what? It ain't right for you.
Yes, as my sisters both like to tell me, because they both have, my older sister has 3 sons, and my twin sister has 2. You know, that each child is so different. So like you said, you know, one method's going to work for one and one's not going to work for the other. And, you know, you just kind of, as a mom, and, you know, and for my husband too, you know, that intuition is going to kick in for the baby.
Do you think you'll teach live again? Once the world goes back to normal? You think you'll do that again?
I do. I don't think at the rate that I was doing before COVID. You know, I was really burning. I was getting really burnt out. I was teaching 6 to 7 days a week, and you know, my business has really shifted during COVID, of course. So, you know, now I'm completely online, and that my TSS fam community is really now such a big priority for me. So to be able to continue to teach live classes on the app. So if I'm teaching live in real life, I would like to stream that class live to the app. So making sure I'm really using my time wisely, and just being able to connect to all of the people that are tuning in around the world on the Sculpt Society app.
I'm picturing for you going back to the floor of Barclays, you teaching a class at Barclays, concert style, to, I don't know, 30,000 people, something like that.
That would be such a dream, honestly.
And maybe doing that like a concert tour. Like if Jay-Z could do it, why can't make a Roup? I mean, why not?
Well, honestly, it's funny. That's sort of in the plan. We would like to do a tour around the country and stop at major cities and really have an experience and a meet and greet. And I get to like meet the community, and I would love to do that. So that's in the works.
I'm predicting, I'm manifesting this with you, as I know you are. Okay. So, you know, other trajectories in your mind in terms of like with all this is going? I mean, us workaholics, you know, we think like 5 years out. Of course, it never works out the way we think. But like, what kind of personal/professional trajectories where you see things going?
Yeah, I think the tour is a big thing for me. I think being able to connect with my community in real life is going to be really important. You know, continuing to grow the community online. I'd love to just continue to grow and build and just make my platform really just the best online experience out there. And then, you know, I've got a few things up my sleeve. Say it again. And then get a few assistants. Yes. And then the big news actually is my husband just came on full time. So he is full-time, now he's full-time Sculpt Society, which is very exciting.
That's amazing. You know, I think the biggest issue, because again, I've been doing my business longer than you have. When you're at that point of huge growth, as we said before, it's the controlled delegation thing that is probably one of the most difficult things. You know, I've learned like you're starting to learn how to delegate, and of course you have to be successful enough to start doing that, right? Because we're all from the ground up. I was cleaning my own toilets, not just filling my own syringes 20 years ago. You know what I mean? I was doing it with my sister. And then
I'm super scrappy, so I love that. I respect it.
You don't want to. You can't delegate unless you've done it yourself first, right?
Yeah, I feel really lucky. I think that's one thing is I know every aspect of my business. I do everything from, you know, the lighting to the video editing to the back end of my app to support. I've done every single job. And I think now what's so great about having Morgan come on full time is, you know, what he's so great about is operations and hiring people and really knowing, I think, how to help me build a team around myself, which, you know, I just don't have the bandwidth to do right now. And I think he's going to be so helpful with that. But at the same time, like you said, it is so important, I think, as a business owner to understand every aspect of the jobs that you're hiring.
You can never take your finger off it too. There are people that will always be like, once you get to a certain level, oh, but you have people to do that and you have people to do that. It's always your vision. Your business will always go down unless you have your finger on the pulse of everyone's job. Yeah. And it's a misconception of people they have this dream that they're going to build a business, they're going to be able to run it from their laptop on a beach in Anguilla. That never happens. At least I know it's not going to happen to me. But you know, because to be successful, you always have to be on the pulse. People always want you. It doesn't mean you can't find better homeostasis and balance and do things that you specialize in and do best, but you'll always have to have your pulse. And because of that, we need to find things that keep us peaceful and stable without getting overwhelmed. And this comes to the question I ask everyone on my podcast is, what is it that makes Megan feel at peace? Is it meditation? What takes you away from the obvious stress of being you?
I mean, honestly, Dr. Frank, and I
don't
think it's, no, I have so many, I don't have stresses. Oh my God, I'm so stressed. Honestly, movement. And I know that's such like an obvious answer, but it is, I'm a trained dancer. I've been moving my entire life. And I think anytime I can move to the beat of the music in a way that feels good to me, which for me is the Sculpt Society, I come out of those sessions like a new person. It really grounds me. It gets me out of my head. I'm just so much happier. So tapping into that on a daily basis is really like therapy for me.
It's a blessing. No, I'm the same way too, because again, it's funny, I'm very ADD, multitasking. I'm the most calm when I'm really busy at work and things are just working out. I'm making people happy, I'm engaging with people. There are always things that throw you off, but you get into the zone. That's what feeds us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That and a little meditation every once in a while.
Yeah, and of course, a meditation walks outside, but yes, all those things.
And has the COVID, that hasn't done anything except change for the better your priorities in terms of focusing on the platform, right? Is there anything about COVID and the changing world that kind of changed things for you?
Yeah, I think, of course, it completely shifted my business to be online. But I think it really brought clarity for me in what I wanted for my life and my lifestyle and for my business. So I think for like so many people that shift really happened for me. And then of course, I think the plan was always to be out west eventually, but that's kind of because of COVID and because of the pregnancy sped things up a little bit faster. But I think it's all things that needed to happen. And I think, again, that is truly my silver lining in all of this is just getting that clarity.
When are you moving?
At the end of the month.
Whoa.
I know.
Eventually you won't be able to fly on a plane, right?
Well, that was the thing. I need to get there before I can't fly, and then we also need to find a place to live. So
that's an important part. That's a very important part. Well, I want you to I'm so appreciative of you coming on board. What I want most is for you to tell everybody how they can find you, your platform, tell them a little bit about the structure of it so they can get more of you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Megan Roup and at the Sculpt Society. If you're interested in the Sculpt Society app, we have over 400 on-demand videos. I go live multiple times a week. We have programs. We have pre- and postnatal. We've got yoga, meditation, sculpt, dance, cardio. And there's a 2-week free trial. So you can come over to the website, which is thesculptsociety.com. And I guarantee you it's going to be a good time.
Yes, and most importantly, people, what you're going to get is smiles. You put in a good mood and something refreshing that just makes you feel good. And that is what the pro-aging lifestyle about. Because if you can't enjoy the ride, what is it all worth? Megan, I love you. You're the best. I couldn't be happier for every aspect of positivity going on in your life, and I'm just proud to be part of it. And you're not going to be done with me.
I won't, don't worry.
Okay?
I'll be back in New York so often, you'll be sick of me.
I'm coming. Barclays. I'm going to be your biggest fan. And again, bless you. Thank you, everybody. Pro Aging Podcast. We are out. Episode 7.